I've got to touch on the one black spot from last year, Terry. Really, it'd be remiss of me not to mention it was the problem with Calverall. They had a family fun day or something, bowls competition, didn't they, on the day of the final, and Shropshire management decided to come out with some fines and bans and so on, which was subsequently taken out by the British Crown Green. What was your thoughts on that? You was obviously involved in the decision.
Yeah, I was one of the people who took the decision of the fines and the bans. Let me first of all say that, with hindsight, we may well have been over the top with the penalties. But having said that, we never got, as far as I'm concerned, an ideal opportunity to present our case to Shropshire bowlers, but also bowlers in general, because they first of all told us it was a fun day that was nothing to do with Calverall Bowling Club, but John Crowther had issued competition certificates on 3 previous years. They told us it was always the first Sunday in September, and one of them in the last 2 years had played on the 31st of August. They were given the opportunity to defend themselves when we were deciding on a punishment, and only their secretary turned up, who wasn't really a bowler, and the rest of them said they couldn't find this complex. Well, you've mentioned about how big it is, and I just felt that the amount of correspondence that had gone back and forth, it was pretty obvious that Shropshire were going to do something. As it turns out, the appeal was overturned by the British Crown Green, and so the one lifetime ban. The other guy, the 1 2-year ban. The other guy hasn't appealed as at that time, but has appealed now, and I'm obviously very confident that'll be overturned as well. I just felt that we got an unfavourable press on this. Yes, maybe we did go a little bit over the top with the punishments, but I want to make it clear here that the 4 people who made the decision were 4 totally independent of what had gone on, other than knowing about it at executive meetings. And I also want to make the point quite forcibly that when it was finally decided by the full Shropshire executive that we would inflict some punishment on Calverall, the vote in favour was 31 votes to 1 against. And the 1 against, and I don't think he'll mind me mentioning, was Rob Ellison, who thought that we were perhaps going over the top. Now, which church were represented there? Mid Shropshire, Oswestry, Shrewsbury, and that was the vote. But it's water under the bridge, I hope now. It was unfortunate. It was the only thing that soured the year a little bit. The association have now decided that as long as you keep our Shropshire Merit Day free, you can hold the competition anytime you like, as long as you've paid the necessary fee and have got the necessary permission from the county and the British Crown Green.
But you accept that perhaps Shropshire County were a little bit over the top initially?
With hindsight, yes. I think the fine of £250 was a little bit heavy, and perhaps a 2-year ban was a little bit heavy. That's with hindsight. At the time the 4 of us made that decision, we believed we were acting in total good faith and with good reason. And without wishing to labour the point, the amount of correspondence that took place between the 2 bodies involved, the county and Calverall, was immense. And we were always making it abundantly clear that we were not prepared to give them permission.
I think the thing is, well, Terry, isn't it? I mean, a lot's made of the county matching the sound, but of course there's such a lot of what you might call social bowlers these days, isn't there? I mean, you get a county match and you might get 200 people turning up, but how many people in Shropshire play bowls? Several thousand, isn't there? You know,
it's a point well made, Mel. We've got about between 7,000 and 8,000 and who play bowls, and obviously if all 7,000 or 8,000 people came to watch that bowls match, we'd have to play it at the Pro Star Stadium. So yeah, it's a point well made, but it's just that we believed it was in our rules. We believe that we've been consistent in refusing other clubs. As it turned out, we've now rectified that, we hope, and we hope that will never happen again.
Now, you always say what you think, Terry, don't you? And
unfortunately, it gets me in trouble sometimes.
You've took a little bit of flack for some certain comments you made recently at the Shropshire AGM. By calling people, I think, morons.
Well, it wasn't actually at the Shropshire AGM, Mel. I don't know if it's contradicted too much, but it was when I went to the British Crown Green Bowling Association AGM to propose Barry Jennings as deputy president, and Barry had had a particular amount of flack off of this Shropshire Bowls Forum, and I did quite clearly say that I thought that it was for morons, written by morons, for morons, and maybe again that's going over the top, but if I've got something to say, Mel, I usually put T. Sambrook's name with it. Now these guys are all using pseudonyms: Waterloo, Claw, several others, Charlie Chan, and I think that's unreasonable. If they've got something to say, why won't they say it?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of this is coming quite candidly from guys who do little or nothing for bowls.
I mean, the internet is a wonderful tool, and I mean, I use it a lot for different purposes and go on, but I mean, I don't consider myself a moron, really, and you can understand people taking offence to it, can't you?
Well, Mel, you know, I have no problem with people taking offence and saying their point. Yeah, I wasn't particularly criticising the internet, although I'm not a big fan of it. From the point of view of it hides a multitude of sins, I think, particularly with businesses, which we'll go off. But I think that if you're going to use that tool, then you should use it with your name. I really mean that. I'm not one for... I won't read letters in papers that say name and address supplied. You know, if you've got something to say, surely you should be responsible for what you're saying. And a lot of the criticism on that was doing bowls no good, and it was doing Shropshire Bowls no good. And the point I'd make, and yes, maybe people who I've called morons I should be apologising to, because now that I know some of the guys, yes, I don't think they are, but we in the league that I use get about £2,000 off our sponsor in one form or another. That's Tanner's Wines. What would they think if they see that? You know, the criticism that the county's getting, the various leagues are getting, the organisations are getting. And I dare say that round the county there's probably £10,000 given by sponsors in one form or another. You know, you don't want to be upsetting them, not in my opinion.
No, quite agree. But do you regret saying those remarks?
I perhaps regret using the word moron, but I certainly don't regret using the words that I used. Morons perhaps was a bit over the top, yes, but I've been to talk to people about it, and there's one or two who use it quite a bit, quite amicable with me. There's one or two who've taken serious offence with me, and one or two I'm disappointed with taken, because I thought that over the years I'd had a good friendship with them. But no, I don't regret saying what I said, but perhaps morons was the wrong expression.
Yeah. Okay, well, enough said on that now, Terry. Thanks for your time anyway. It's been lovely to talk to you. Obviously you're always going to say what you think, and at the same time you've been such an hard working person for Shropshire Bowls, so you know, we thank you for that, and I wish Shropshire well for the coming season, apart from when you play Staffordshire, of course.
Thank you, Mel. I just say that I do have a reputation of using 1,000 words where people use one, and of sometimes engaging mouth before brain. But no, if I've got something to say, I'll say it, and I'll say it with the name T. Sambrook after it. Thank you, Mel.
Thanks, Dad. Bye.